mentioned just before now, I won't be doing this alone. I have Richard with me on the call, who is is currently working as a contractor as an advanced AI data trainer at Invisible Technologies, and is specialized in AI training. During the course of his journey as an AI trainer, he decided to take up the role of a data analyst. And while making this decision, he thought of the best place to take his training. And yes, he did it at Transition School. I won't be saying all of this for him. I'll just let him blow his own on. Hi, Richard. Are you on the call? Richard, confirm that you can hear me.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hello, everyone. I'm Richard. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this with me, Richard. And I can't wait to have exciting conversation with you.
Thank you.
In just a couple of minutes, I want you to tell us who exactly is Richard. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so a little background about me. So basically, I had my basic schooling in Ghana. So I graduated as a mechanical engineer, actually. Then I worked in a bank for so many years before relocating to the United Kingdom. So when I came to the UK, I did masters in information and communication technology. So in the process, I think I took more interest in coding, so front-end development, and that's what I've been doing for some time. So in my journey on front-end development, I first encountered Transition School when Transition School advertised a role or no, a course for non-coding. So I was asking myself, how can someone code without actually coding, like having to build websites without actually coding? So I registered for that course and I went through the course. So after that course, in between that course, Transition School had another section for online jobs. And before then, I've been more like applying for a lot of online jobs, trying to get online jobs, jobs online in relation to what I do, programming and stuff like that. So I joined the discussion on how to be able to secure an online job. And I gave some of my grievances on having to go through, should I say, screening processes for online jobs and stuff. So that was the boss. What's his name? Sorry, can you remind me what's his name? Yomi. Yeah, sorry, thank you, Yomi. So Yomi did give some guidance on online job. So I don't know if it's coincidental or that was actually the first stepping stone. So through then, and I was able to secure my first proper online job, should I say it that way, because basically I need to work full-time with the company. So should I say that was my proper, the rest probably will be based on the tax you do and you're going to earn based on what you do. But this one, I need to work with them full-time. Basically, even though I'm a contractor, the contract can end anytime, but there are always projects popping up because of AI is now a big thing and it's always evolving. So there are always new projects popping up. So basically my relevance is still in there. So after getting this, and I have been probably doing some programming on the side and all that, I felt one of the reasons why I had to join the no code is I was becoming actually quite lazy, having to sit behind my computer every day and having to code. But so I requested for a one-on-one advisory section with Transition School. So during the transition, the one-on-one section, we're discussing a variety of courses where I could. Yomi wanted me to actually continue what I was doing as in my programming. I needed to do it, but I want something else. I want to try something else aside having to do front-end development and stuff. So he had a very good idea. He's saying every developer needs 2 programming languages. So he's going to suggest I do data analysis. And basically, because I'm already in an AI sector, I can always, should I say, go up the ladder. And in the future, because with data analysis, if you want to actually progress, you have to learn Python at a point. So every programmer probably will need 2 programming languages to be able to sustain, should I say, depending on how the industry moves. So at least if you have 2 programming languages, if I have my JavaScript on there and I have Python, that would be very good for me. So that's what he suggested. I need to do this. So he said he doesn't want me to be less technical. I need to still stay in the programming kind of field. So that was the start for me to be able to now join transition school as a data analyst. And I joined, and I can now say I'm done with the project and I'm done with the course, and I graduated, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So this is me here as a data analyst, or yet to be data analyst. I don't know how we say it. Thank you very much.
I mean, Richard, you went from 0 to 100 in that introduction. I mean, I hear you say two things loudly, and I think it's two things that I'll first address on this call. I need you to know that not everybody in tech will code. People tend to make this mistake when they hear people talk about
So is it my network or anyone can hear?
Can I please confirm that you can still hear me? Sorry, I had a bit of a glitch. Can anyone still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I'll just sort that out quickly. But while I do that, I want you to note that, like I said earlier, it's very important that you know that it's not everybody that would code. So you can decide to come into the tech space today and say, you know what, I don't want to write any codes. And yes, you won't, and yet you will be successful. I work today as a tech sales specialist, and I am still a part of the tech ecosystem. I work in tech. Yes, I am a tech sis, and I don't write a line of code. So if anyone has ever told you that you have to be that one person that will write codes, you have to be there to make all the right, oh well, let's be nice to the people that code tonight. You don't necessarily have to code to become a tech person. And like Richard rightly mentioned, you can learn Excel, SQL, and Power BI and yet be a data analyst. And if you want to take it a step further, you can choose to learn Python, which then involves you writing some lines of code. So it's very important that you know that there are non-coding skills and coding skills. I just thought to add that quickly before we continue the session. Another thing Richard mentioned that resonated with me is it's important that you know that as you come into transition school, you get to speak with a learning advisor. So it's not just enough that you want to just get into tech, you want to learn a tech skill and just move on. We want to be sure that the skill you have chosen for yourself is the right thing for you to do. So you can book a call with us. At the end of this session, I'll walk you through how to do that. I would just quickly like to throw this question to you, Richard, before I continue on my hand. I want you to tell us, for you, how do you think one can start a career in tech? Because now you have even explored different avenues in tech. I want you to tell us, how do you think one can start a career in tech?
I think, in my opinion, is really not straightforward thing to be able to start a career in tech, because from my experience, I think I've been all over the place. So I was trying to now find focus or find what my interest really is, because sometimes, um, looking at all the stages in tech, if you really don't have the right guidance, or you really don't assess where you really want to do or where your interest lies, you might find yourself moving around just like me. Like, I did a bit of this, I did a bit of this. Like, you keep learning so many different things. But in the whole space of tech, when you look at it, is first of all, I think it depends on your interest, in my opinion, how you want to start in tech. So it depends. If someone basically is more analytical, I know a lot of people like mathematics. If you are more analytical, you like mathematics, you basically, I think, programming languages will probably be good for you and data analysis. But if you think you are someone who can speak in public and be very organizational, I think project management is something that will be your field, or business analyst is something that might be your field. So it depends on the person's interest. So it's not a one fit all kind of what the person really. But if you really want to transition, what I can say is all depends on your determination to transition, because determination cuts across all the fields. You just need to be determined and know that, okay, I'm going to do this. And you give yourself time to learn, because you are not going to know everything in 1 month, 2 months. Even with my course I just finished, I don't know everything. And I still have a lot to go, a long way to go, because all that we've done now is we've done the Excel, we've done SQL, we've done the nitty-gritty, like basically the base of and which any employer will need for an entry role. But to go forward, I will now need to learn more advanced SQL, and basically I will need probably some Python if I really want to move forward in where probably I want to reach. So for basic, just for transition, it's just going to be your determination and having to give yourself time, because life is not actually a race. You actually need to give yourself time to learn and time to grow. Basically, you need to forget about whatever you know, or some skills are transferable, yes, but when you are coming here, you need to just clear your mindset and be able to focus and give yourself time. If it's your timeline is 6 months, give yourself that 6 months. Don't put pressure on yourself. Basically, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Richard. Two things I hear you say: get the right guidance so that you
Yeah.
don't run around trying different skills, which is why I will tell you boldly that I have done this for 3.5 years as a learning advisor. And what do we do in our role as learning advisor? To hold your hands and ensure that your personality resonates with what you are about to begin. What do I mean by this? There are different tech skills. Yes, as good as it sounds that anybody can do anything, your personality also revolves around some kind of roles that you want to take. And I like the fact that Richard has touched base with it. If you're a person that, even as at primary school, discussing conversations about mathematics, at least basic math, numbers scare you off, you might most likely not fit well with the data school. But then if you find yourself in a conversation, when it comes to having conversations with people, you do well. When it comes to designing stuff, you do well. These are some of the character traits that might guide your choice. And for you to make the right choice, you can speak to a learning advisor, and then they walk you through based off of your character trait, where your heart, your interest, to make the right decision as to the tech skill that best suits for you. Also, I need you to know that patience is key. I've had a consultation session with someone, and then the person tells me, Jumoke, this is March. I want to be able to start earning 2 million naira per month, which is almost about 2,000 or $2,500 per month. This is someone that has just learned.
Damn, bro. What the
Sharing
fuck
their
is it?
story.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so sorry about that. I think I've been able to remove the person. So I'll just continue from where I stopped. It's very important that you give time. It's very important that you give time. You have to
Girl,
give
girl,
yourself
girl,
time.
girl, 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 girl.
Please, let's all stay muted. Please, let's all stay muted. Sorry about that. So please ensure you give yourself time. Give yourself time, because if you don't give yourself time, you might just rush through the old training and then not necessarily imbibing yourself into what you have learned, and also allowing yourself to learn what is necessary for you to grow. And as you learn, like I mentioned earlier, you are added to um, a community that works. You get training, you get to be walked through the journey, and just to help you make that decision, and also help you get the right value that you need. Okay, I'll just move to the next question, which is something very key and important. Um, Richard, so for you, do you think it's compulsory that I get a degree in computer science before I venture into tech?
No, you don't need a degree in computer science before you venture into tech. Computer science is a whole different field altogether. So venturing into tech, basically, tech is a very broad field, and there's no all fit all one course to venture into tech. So it depends on the area you want to go into. That's when you need certain courses. There are a lot of people who venture into tech without having to go to school at all. So is all about the skill. One beautiful thing about tech is about your skill, not really about your qualification per se. You can have all the qualification, but when they give you the work, can you do it? That's the question at the end of the day. So it's not, you don't really need to have a degree in computer science to venture into tech. No.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that. I like the fact that you have gone through the training. I want you
Yeah.
to answer this question. I like the fact that you also touch base with skills. So I want you to tell us, what are some of the skills that you have identified as skills needed for you to come into the world of data, for you to become a data analyst?
Okay, so with the world of data analysts, you actually need to be very observant because you are going to be playing with numbers, figures, information. Basically, at the end of the day, you're going to play with information. So for essential skills, in my opinion, you need to be quite observant. You need to have some statistical skills, be able to look at certain things and make sense out of it. They can throw like numbers or figures or any information to you. Maybe the world is burning. What do you think about the world is burning? It has so many meanings. It's how you are going to translate it for someone who does not understand it at all to understand. Like, so basically the whole idea is having to turn raw data into useful information for even a 5-year-old to be able to understand. So with data analysts, we did do a lot with visualizations. Yeah, so be able to present certain things to stakeholders or to everyone to be able to understand what is going on or what you are trying to tell them. So basically, so what you need essential skills is you need to be able to pay attention, because if you're not able to pay attention, you're going to miss the nitty-gritty or the small information that are very essential for making change. Because this information is, when companies try and employ data analysts, they are looking for people who can try and drive the company in a different direction or make change based on the data available, or be able to predict certain things that's going to happen in the future based on what is happening now. So what is happening now, the only way we can know what's going to happen in the future is looking at the data from now or the past data, and from yesterday, looking at data from today, the data from yesterday, to be able to tell what is going to happen tomorrow, basically. So you need to be, so a very essential skill is having to be able to pay attention. And and basically you need basic skills in Excel, not a lot of skills, but basic skills, so that when you start your journey, it's going to be quite smooth because you'll be familiar with using Excel already. At least 1+1 in Excel, everyone should be able to know something like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. So if I hear you clearly, personality traits, some of the personality traits involves maximum attention to details, because you
Yeah.
don't want to enter 111, 112, and then jump to 114, which then affects the entire information you're about to present to your management. You also have to be very key in terms of presentation, which you don't even have to bother about. You will learn that in class. And
Yeah.
also, you have to be a lover of numbers. What do I mean by this? You'll be working with quite a large data set. And if you are someone that you don't like numbers, seeing figures at all, it might be a bit of struggle for you as a as a person in your personality now. Beyond just the personality wise, you then come to the world of learning, where transition school then takes you through the journey of learning Excel, SQL, Power BI. These are some of the tools used by data analysts, like Richard has mentioned earlier. I hope you're learning something. I mean, if you're learning something, I want to see your reaction button. If you're learning something, just use the reaction button. If you're learning something tonight, I want you to just use the reaction button. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I mean, while I'm saying all of these things, I want you to begin to drop your questions in the chat, because We are here for you tonight. We are here to answer your question. Also, I would like to ask you, Richard, what industry do you think needs a data analyst?
Uh, in my opinion, every industry in this day need
Thank
a data
you.
analyst.
Thank
So
you.
the finance sector, the health sector, the retail sector, the technology sector, the marketing sector, manufacturing, telecommunication, education, government, energy sector, all of them need, every sector needs a data analyst.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I just wanted you to hear it from a third party's mouth. It's important that you note that this particular tech skill you are interested in is very, very versatile. And then you can literally work anywhere. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, every company wants to grow. And how do they grow? They grow by information that they have. You grow based off of information that you have. So it's important that you note that as you go through your journey, you are putting at the back of your mind that I can literally work everywhere. So you're not constrained to some particular industry, which brings me to the next thing I'm about to say. So say, for example, you have a banking experience. You've been in the banking sector for like 4 years. You have been in the manufacturing sector for like 5 years. And you're looking at, you know what, I want to transition, but I don't want to go and start off as someone that is just literally starting out. You can learn this skill and then inculcate it into what you are currently doing. What do I mean by this? You can bring your data knowledge into the world of banking. It then helps you transition roles. You are still in the banking sector, but you are way beyond just teller and loan officer. Now you can literally contribute to the decisions that are being made in your bank. That's another beautiful thing about coming into the tech space. You don't necessarily have to transition totally from your industry, because what you are learning is also very viable in the industry that you currently exist in. One more question for you before we then begin to take questions from people. So I want to believe that people have questions. So I will encourage that you drop your questions in the chat as we move on. Okay. Richard,
Hi.
this question I'm about to ask is a bit sensitive. What do I mean by this? You see someone walk up to you and say, Jumoke, as good as this thing sounds, I'm 40 years already. Do you think it's something that I can benefit from? Do you think there's an age limit to coming into the ecosystem?
In my opinion, there's no age limit. I think I was also on that path some time ago, thinking I don't think I need to learn anymore, and I think I'm tired of having to learn. So where's the money? But one thing is, if you really need them, if you want to earn the money, you need to earn the skills. So if you don't have the skills, that's gonna come. So let probably you want to do fraud. So I had to sit down and reanalyze and take my time. So there's a bit of sacrifice, because I had to stop working to at some point, like reduce work and focus more on learning, because if you are chasing money, it's going to be more of a struggle to balance it. So I don't think age is really a factor in there. A lot of people are far older from 40 and still ventured or change careers. So yes, you just need to find value in what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Richard. I agree with you. Like, I even have a particular lady that I know, like that I've had a story. Her name is Harriet. One of these Twitter spaces, this lady decided to share her story. Apparently, she has been a stay-at-home mom for so long, and then I think as at 37 years or 39 years, she started learning coding. She had 4 kids already, and now she is 41, and she's earning hundreds of thousands of dollars just because she decided to take that bold step and just learn a tech skill. And in the space of 2 years, she went from being that stay-at-home mom that was not earning anything to still being a stay-at-home mom and yet earning hundreds of dollars. So another thing that tech contributes to you is you can choose to work from home. So people work remotely. Say for example, you want that opportunity to still spend time with your family, not necessarily going out because you have things to take care of. You can take up remote roles. You can even take contract opportunities that you work on the data, you deliver the result, and they pay you per project, not necessarily as a full-time staff that works in that organization alone. It even gives you liberty to be able to explore different job opportunities. What do I mean by this? You can just be that contractor that does freelancing, and then this company A wants to analyze this data, you charge them for that data, you deliver, and you move on to company B, and you do it just like that and gather your funds and move on. Another big thing that data does, tech does for you, is the opportunity to benefit from visa opportunities sponsored by different companies, countries in the world. A very good example is the Global Talent Visa that the UK offers to people because they are talents in tech. They are exceptional talents in tech. So tech doesn't just give you money. It gives you things that go beyond money, opportunities that goes beyond money, privileges that just helps you grow and make that change in your own world. Next, I'll be asking you, I've heard people say statements like the fear of technicalities, the fear of that technical value that people put around that, okay, tech is hard, tech is very, very demanding. That fear is the reason why some people have decided not to come into tech. Richard, what would you say as a, like, what would your comment be as regard this kind of conversation? Say, okay, someone is very scared, the fear of the technicality is why they are not coming into tech. What would you say? Like, what would be your advice to them?
My advice to them is nothing comes easy. Even though I don't agree, it's very difficult. It depends on your passion, your drive, based on the field you want to venture into. So it doesn't come easy, but there's nothing that is difficult or nothing that's easy. It depends on your drive. That's what I'm going to say to them. Because if you are good with numbers, why would data analysis be difficult for you? Even if you are not really good with numbers, but you are quite observant, why would like having to build like a beautiful, should I say, slide be difficult? I don't think so. It just depends on the drive per se. It's not difficult. It depends on your drive, because if you don't have the drive, everything will look very difficult for you to actually do. That's the thing. That's what I'm going to say.
Thank you so much, Richard. If I hear you correctly, you say set a goal.
Yeah.
Let your
So
passion
I think I should use more
yeah.
of an example in my transition school period. So during my transition school, I was given a work to be able. I needed to do my project work, and the starting was I needed to work with SQL. And the data given to me was a lot, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So I kept looking at it every day, and I kept it down. Kept looking at it every day, I put it down. So once a while, I work on it. I started working on it. Then now I didn't finish working on it. Then I was going to export it to Excel, because at the end of the day, I needed to export my data to Excel to be able to spool what I really need from the data and visualize. So I tried to take a shortcut on it. So I took each data one by one and kept in Excel. So my Excel sheet became very, very large, and I was trying to now work in Excel because I'm more comfortable in Excel, and then put it that way. So I was trying to spool this and put this here. And I took like days, weeks. So I'm like, no, I had to really go back there and understand what I need to do there and fix the data. And when I really understood what I need to do there and fix the data, that was less than our job. And something I was using like days to try and figure out in Excel. So when I now brought to Excel, it was much easier now to be able to work with the data, basically. So it depends on how you're going to say. So if you try to be lazy about it, I don't think you're going to go far. But if you actually have the determination, because if you're trying to be lazy, not even transition school is going to save you one way or the other. So you just need to have that determination to be able to go through the hard path and actually try and understand whatever you're doing, basically.
Thank you so much, Richard. I agree with you. If you are coming into this journey, I like to tell people, let money not be your driving force. Because the days when the situation Richard found himself happens to you, you will back out. So it's important that you set a goal and let passion drive that goal rather than money. Yes, it's good to want to earn well, to want to live a comfortable life. But first and foremost, at the beginning of your career into coming into tech, I like to tell people, let money or the salary range not be your driving force. Rather, set a long-term goal as to where you want to see yourself in the ecosystem, that you yourself can become a thought leader, like an industry expert that can then begin to impact knowledge in your field. By the time you set this kind of goals, the passion to arrive at that goal is what begins to fuel you. So days when it becomes difficult, those passion, those goals that you have set is what keeps pushing you. And trust me, if you're 20 today and you tell yourself this thing is too technical, that's my fear, and you don't do it, in 2 years time you will be 22 and nothing has changed. But if you decide at that same age 20 and say this thing is hard, but I will give it my all, I will get started, by the time you are 22 you would have made progress. Whether slow, whether fast, whether big, whether small, you have moved from where you are at least a step closer to where you want to be if you have not gotten to where you want to be. So I tell people, take this first step. And I will recap from what I said earlier. Work with the right person. What do I mean by this? Reach out to us, for example, at Transition School. We have good learning advisors, including myself in-house, that can walk you through that journey to making the right decision on what to learn. And then we have a community that supports you through your learning journey, and even after your learning journey, that can serve as guide, that can serve as support system. If you walk alone, you will get tired easily. But the more you have people posting questions, talking about what they have done in their project, talking about what they have been able to achieve part time, you are pushed to want to also do something such that you are also progressing as others are progressing. I mean, I would then come to that part where I have been waiting for. So I would give room for questions. So if you have any question, you want to drop your question in the chat, or you want to ask directly, you could use the raise hand button. Thank you so much, Helpmeet. I don't know if you have any question. Do you want to unmute and ask your question? Yeah, Helpmeet. You just want to tell us your name and your question. Please go ahead. Hi, Helpmeet. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, I'll just come back to you. Olufemi, do you have any question? You can unmute and ask your question. Okay, if I have muted everyone, no, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I've been trying to unmute the mic for quite some time now. So, good evening, and I want to say thank you so much for setting up this training. It's aside from networking, it also gives us the opportunity to hear and learn more. Okay, and so personally, by God's grace, I run a tech firm. Uh, I based on I said. Yes, but I've really been having that a thought for the past few weeks to transition also to have a tech skill. I got a scholarship for data analysis. But interesting, it's so interesting that I couldn't really wrap my mind around data analysis because most of the time I have to attend to clients in terms of supplying the laptops and then trying to fix my clients' laptops and all. But sometimes when I'm alone, I still feel like okay, I need to pick up something. And I don't have any background in tech at all. I studied political science. So me going into the tech gadgets world is just like a kind of divine coincidence stuff. So but I really want to go in have a tech skill that okay, at my own leisure time overnight, I can also be able to like do something.
I think your network is breaking, but if I hear you correctly, you are looking to come into the world of tech, and you are thinking, I don't have the time, and I'm not sure I have the necessary skill to at least
So
start up.
I don't know if it's
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
I
I
don't
hear
know
you.
if
I do.
I've
So
really
two things
I'm not
I would
able
tell
to
you.
wrap my mind.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Two things I'll tell you. First and foremost, you have to create the time. I cannot sugarcoat it. You have to create the time. So it's just like saying you want to own a degree and you don't want to attend classes or you don't want to create time to study. It doesn't work that way. So as much as you are a busy person, you need to learn to inculcate some time into your busy schedule to start off this skill. And I also want you to forget that you studied political science. Anybody can go into the tech ecosystem so far you have the right guidance, which is why I will tell you, after this session I'll be dropping a form. We would get there. I will want you to fill that form. A one-on-one conversation will then happen between any of our what's it called, learning advisor, if I myself and yourself, to have this conversation for that. But I want you to clear it at the back of your mind that you need a prior skill. No, you don't need any prior knowledge to get started. You can literally start from the scratch. The most important thing that you need is your commitment, your ability to create the time, and a goal that will drive you through this journey. You have to set that goal for yourself that can push you as a driving force in this journey. I hope I was able to address your question. Richard, I
Yes,
don't know if
yes,
you
yes.
want to add anything to it.
So if I get it right, it's more about the time, getting the time to work or time to learn.
Uh,
Yeah, I
can
think
I?
you said everything. You need to create time because my schedule too in my process was quite tight, but I had to still be able to. I at some point I was working 4 jobs and still had to still make time to learn. So if you give yourself excuses, the days will just keep running. So you just need to do it now. It's more about the sacrifice and how you are going to prioritize what you want to do. So in able for me to be able to prioritize, I had to stop doing some of my work I was doing to be able to get time and stay more at home to be able to do this because it was more like I wanted it to be a hit or miss for me. So it has to be a hit. So I need to sacrifice basically. So that's what I can say.
Thank you so much. That last part is either a hit or a miss. Like that example I cited earlier. If you are 20 today and you choose to say, okay, I don't have the time, in 2 years you will be 22. And guess what? You have still not learned anything. And then if there's someone that is 20 just like you that decides to create, even if it is 2 hours every other week, over the course of that 2 years, trust me, the person will be better off than you in 2 years' time. So you have to create time out of your busy schedule and then set that goal that will drive you through the journey. And like I said, speak to the right people, join the right community, helps you fuel your passion. I hope that answers your question. Help me. Olufemi Aliyu, I don't know if you okay. You wanted to say something, help me. Okay, I want to believe I've answered your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yes, you've answered that. I just want to chip in another thing.
okay,
I mentioned something when I was asking the question. I said I got a scholarship for data analysis,
okay.
and when I started the whole course, I found that I don't know. One of the things that was required is that you have to be analytical. You have to. So I was trying to wrap my mind around it, like, and then the whole mathematics kind of thing. So my question is, can I still be dogged about it? And then you mentioned something earlier, and you said your personality also matters in whatever you want to learn. So that's part of what was going to fuel your interest in learning it. So my question is that should I still be dogged about it and despite the whole mathematics, analytics limitation and still go ahead with the data analysis? Or which other field in tech do you feel like okay, I can I can still venture into? And basically, I'm not like you mentioned, we shouldn't go into it because of money. I'm currently not even going into it because of money majorly. I'm going into it because my business is all about it. And I feel like I also need additional skills to help me in growing the business and the startup itself. So aside, should I be dogged and just put in my mind to it that okay, I will get the data analysis and get the whole analytical skills and all, or there are other field in tech that I can venture into that will also help me to contribute to the socio-economic development.
I like that question. Do you know why? As good as doggedness is, it's very, very good. It's also important that you note that your personality matters. So it's two things. You can set it as a goal in your mind to say, you know what, I am going to take this course, I am going to learn. I would like to ask you, during the course of your training in the scholarship, do you have like direct live classes that you can learn from, or it's learn at your own pace? Because that can also be a challenge.
I'm actually learning at my own pace.
I
So
think that is the
that
biggest challenge you are facing. The fact that you are coming in new and then there's really nobody to break it down, like from what is data analytics, what is data, and to give real life cases to make you better relate to it. I think that's the challenge you are having on that part, aside the fact that okay, maybe you are not from a mathematics background and all. So one of the things that I would advise is take a deep breath, look at it from your own perspective. Are you sure that data is something you want to do? And then, like I mentioned, you can still fill the form, speak with a learning advisor. Like I mentioned, speak with a learning advisor. Let's have that conversation. Your personality might just revolve around another tech skill, so that you don't end up becoming that person that tries 1,001 tech skill before arriving at the one that matters. So it's important that you fill that form. So that's what I would say. For other people that have their questions, can you quickly type your question in the chat box? We have quite a few minutes to go, but I would like to address your question. So please, Mr. Mudashiru, can you please type your question in the chat box so that we can quickly address them?
As you're
All
waiting
right,
for
I will
that
do that
question.
now. I'll do that now, please.
All right, please. Okay, I mean, you have unmuted yourself. You can go ahead and ask your question. Let's just keep it brief.
All right. Good evening. Oh, this is my question. I was fortunate to be one of the person that won the scholarship I saw on data analysis. So, so we have reached a stage of we are using Python now. So I noticed that they gave us a raw data to work on. So whenever I want to work on that data, I notice that it's very seamless, and I use Excel and Power BI to analyze the data. When it comes to Python, I found it very, very difficult, like very, very difficult. And I want to ask, is there a challenge in future, or maybe when you are going for any induction or maybe job and what's it called? Can I put it all? Maybe where a company wants to recruit you and you do not have knowledge on SQL or Python, you just have knowledge on best knowledge of Excel and Power BI alone. Is there a future challenge on that? Like, am I going to be having difficulty when it comes to
So I think
references?
with the little I know about data analytics, I can tell you for a fact that with your Excel and SQL tool and Power BI, you can start off. You can start your journey. And as you proceed in the journey, don't forget that it's not a one-day journey. Go and practicalize the skills that you have even learned. And as you go up the ladder, you can then begin to introduce something like Python, because Python involves you writing code.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
beyond just your Excel that you spool data and you create dashboards and all of that. Now you are going into the world of writing codes. So I would advise that you go and start off with your basic skill of Excel, SQL, and Power BI. I see companies that employ people with just skill in Excel and SQL. So you have nothing to fear about. Go and start your career
Okay.
first. And then
All
also
right.
another thing I could advise is at transition school, we have this opportunity where you can enroll for just internship for you to get real
Okay.
life experience. So you can also fill
Experience.
that form. A learning advisor will reach out to you. You have gone through the training. We can then help you get internship to also solidify your knowledge. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Mdashiru.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Olufemi, do you want to quickly ask your question? Our time is fast spent before we wrap it up.
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Femi. I am a graphic designer, and I actually just finished a course on data analysis. But I have a problem with SQL, basically SQL. I work fine with Excel and Power BI. But SQL has been my major.
Okay, I mean, if that is your own
I'm still working
issue,
on it.
oh, okay. So, I mean, I would advise that you also fill that form. Knowledge gap can also be a challenge because for you to come into the world of tech, you have to be properly grounded. It's important that you are properly grounded in your knowledge skill and then your practicality of those knowledge skill that you have acquired. So I would advise that you also fill that form. The learning advisor will also reach out to you and then you can have conversations on how you can balance your skill, your knowledge, and also probably get into an internship. So I would advise that you also fill that form. So thank you so much, Mr. Femi. I hope I
Okay.
answered your question.